you guys.
Oh, you?
Oh my gosh. They're loud. Good. One more. What's crazy? I'm like, that's Harrison's voice.
Yeah. We good? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you, but the microphone can.
Oh.
Good.
You're good to go.
So, I have a lot
How are
to
you?
go over today with you guys, and I'll kind of open it up for
This morning.
questions. But basically, my goal today is kind of give you some tools to figure out what your body needs, like the nutrients that you're not getting from food. I also want to go over how to kind of decipher what supplements could be non-beneficial for your goal, which ones are, and then how to know if what you're taking is actually what it's supposed to be versus something that it claims to be, right? So let's get kind of ready. Look at that, there's a hair right here. Wow. Okay.
Secrets. I'm kidding.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of go over what micronutrients are. So there's macronutrients, so those are going to be protein, carbs, and fats. Your body needs these to produce energy, right? Think of it in super general terms as your body's energy source, right? But then there's also micronutrients, which are going to be vitamins and minerals. So I have listed here most of all the micronutrients that your body gets from food, right here. I'm just going to kind of read them off, okay? So there's vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, vitamin C. I'm going to pronounce some of these, probably not the best. I think it's thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, pyridoxine, vitamin B6, vitamin B9, vitamin B12, vitamin B5, and so on, right? So there's a bunch of micronutrients that your body ideally gets from food, right? But the issue that we run into is if we're not having a super high amount of calories throughout the day, our body, most of the time, is deficient in at least, I would say, a third to 50% of the nutrients that it needs, and it will get it from other areas if it doesn't get it from food. That's kind of the whole point that I'm going into this, right? Because your body can feel when you're hungry, right? Have I said this before, Amanda? So your body can feel when you're hungry, right? It'll tell you, right? I'm hungry. But you know what it won't do? It will not tell you when you are nutrient deficient for a long time until it is too late. A perfect example would be like being calcium deficient. Right? I'm sure your trainer has talked to you about, yep, after the age of 30, whether you're male or female, your bone density starts to go down. But if you're lifting weights a lot, muscle contractions require calcium. So if you're lifting weights a lot, you're not getting a lot of calcium from your food, and you just happen to be, well over 30 years old, or even at 30 years old, you won't know that you've been nutrient deficient until the signs of maybe beginning osteoporosis start to show up. So that's just kind of an example of how we don't really know if we're nutrient deficient until it's kind of too late in some instances, right? So, I'm just going to go over a few things that can happen if you're nutrient deficient, right? So, vitamin A is micronutrient. So, it helps with your vision, immune system, reproduction, growth and development, helps the heart, lungs, and other organs work properly. And common sources are sweet potatoes, carrots, eggs, and broccoli. Remember, we always want to try to get everything from food first, right? It's kind of cheesy, but it's like supplements are to supplement what you're not getting from food, right? That's the whole kind of point for it. Vitamin D, right? It's obtained from the sun. It helps with calcium absorption, cellular growth, reduction of inflammation, neuromuscular and immune function, glucose metabolism, which is basically your body just utilizing its energy source, right? And we get a lot of these from sunlight and some food sources like cod liver, milk, and chicken breast, right? Vitamin D is an antioxidant. It helps with immune function and protects cells from free radicals. Free radicals can lead to cardiovascular disease and cancer. Just think of it as like an incomplete or unhealthy cell. And common sources of vitamin E are broccoli, kiwi, tomatoes, and spinach. Right? You have vitamin K, which is a coenzyme that helps with blood clotting and bone metabolism. Sources are spinach, blueberries, olive oil, and ground beef. And then we have vitamin C, which helps with the biosynthesis of collagen, which is kind of like a connective tissue that's found in your joints. Protein metabolism also is an antioxidant. So I just kind of give you some ideas of what micronutrients actually do in your body, right? They just sound like a bunch of random stuff on a nutrition facts that we don't really look, you know? I mean, I'm a trainer and I didn't really for a long time until this stuff started getting me, right? So I just have a couple more examples here, but I'll kind of move now. So what is the RDA, right? The RDA is the recommended dietary allowance, right? So this is really important to know because it helps you understand how much of a specific nutrient you actually need, right? Anyways, anybody have any questions so far? No? This is kind of a side note. A very effective way to learn if you're nutrient deficient is to go do a blood panel test. It's the best way, right? Because then you can, a doctor does a blood test for you and it can test for all of these and see if there's any deficiency. I mean, ideally, that's how we would do it here, right? Our essentials that we have, that I'm sure if you work with a trainer, you've heard of the essentials, right? Those are designed to, in general, cover the gaps that you're not getting from food. Kind of as like a blanket statement for everybody, right? With a few exceptions, right? Like if you have issues with gut health, you know, we might recommend a probiotic as part of your essentials in your program, right? Or if you have a lot of dairy or you like to eat a lot of ice cream or whatever it may be, yeah, you might not need to supplement with calcium if you're getting 1,000 to 1,300 milligrams a day. But there's no way to really know for sure until you do a blood panel test. But rest assured, though, if you are taking the essentials, you're pretty much covered, besides maybe a few minor details. You understand kind of what I mean? Okay. Like I said here, think of supplements as dietary support. In America, we absolutely need supplementation to address nutrient gaps we are not getting from food. Your body can tell you when you're hungry, but it does not tell you when you're nutrient deficient, right? Now, the problem with supplements, though, is that there isn't any real regulation on them, right? I actually have a few examples I'm going to hand out, but I just kind of stated a couple of things. Like the FDA does not regulate supplements, right? Even for our food, it is only a requirement that it's 80% accurate on the nutrition label. Pretty crazy, right? When I found this out, I was like, wait, so that means that even when I'm counting all my calories, it could be off by 20%. Even when I'm counting all my protein, it could be off. That's as specific as we can get, right? What's that? Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Yep.
And now we have that chicken.
Yeah.
I don't know if you see that. Now we're eating loud chicken, like human meat chicken. So I was like, you know what's that now?
That's yeah. Yeah. So the FDA does not regulate supplements and it only requires 80% accuracy for our food labels. Okay? Supplement companies are not required by the FDA to have anything close to accurate labeling when selling supplements to the public. So I want to do a little experiment with you guys. Okay? I want you to think of a supplement company that you might know or you might like. Common ones are like Orgain or Olly, right? OLLY, or Centrum, right? Or you can do DOFIT, go ahead. And I want you to type in a name of a supplement company and then follow it up with lawsuit, underformulation, or safety violation on Google. And I want to see if anything comes up. You don't have to do it, but.
Oh, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, do it.
We'll simply grab phones.
Oh, okay.
So I just hit that. I'm looking for it. I don't know what I'm science-based nutrition.
You find something? What do you find?
Kirkland says citron algae, the calcium. So they actually had a lawsuit just last year. They said,
What happened?
I'm just surprised that, like, that, just like I said, put it in.
Well, right.
You cannot protect healthy adult lungs.
Yeah, the one that I read says that there's a lawsuit because it wasn't accessible.
What?
Yeah, they said that because the supplement wasn't accessible. I don't even know.
Well, that sounds kind of funky. But my point is, though, is that if there isn't any kind of structure as far as sensing for the potency, what's actually on the label, what is actually in the product lining up with what's on the label, right? A lot of supplement companies, they know that consumers are not, no offense, but they're not professionals, right? So they're not going to know. So what they do is they invest the majority of their money into marketing, right? And if you're a consumer and you go to, let's say you go to GYFT or Costco or whatever, and you see 3 different multivitamins, one of them is like 20 bucks, one's 25, and one's 35. Would you not kind of assume that the most expensive one would be the best? They know this, right? So that is not the case, right? What we have to look for, and I'll kind of go into it. You guys find anything else or no?
No, Kirkland signature is, there's lawsuit. I mean, just name a vitamin. One of them was a fiber. I mean,
Fish oil was on there
it's
too.
yeah, fish oil. Kirkland signature, it says that one of the biggest vitamin companies. And it's just lawsuit. It's just a list.
So, yeah, so that's kind of my point, right? See where I was at here. Oh, yeah, okay, so I have a couple of handouts for you guys too. So this is from Neil. Neil is the CEO of GYFT. He actually took the time to have all these products tested and then show the under formulation. So, like this one right here claims that for certain companies, like Rogue Nutrition, a well-respected company in the CrossFit community, on their whey protein that's chocolate flavored, they advertised 28 grams and they only had 19 grams. They have other protein companies like BioHealth Precision Blend advertised 38 grams and they had no protein at all. Some of them at least had some. Yeah, so you guys can pass that around. So there was, by the way, I don't know exactly when this was. I'm assuming it was somewhat recent. So, yeah. Like the men's 1 a day, or the Centrum 1 a day, gold standard assault, active class, action lawsuits for most of the brands. So there's a, like on this 100% standard whey protein CSN, they advertised 24 grams of protein and they only had 2.5 grams per serving, right? And it said these guys are trying to pass off a carb loaded shake as a low carb whey protein shake to give people weight. So, this is pretty interesting. So the NFL bans players from going to GNC. So it says, according to USA Today, which first broke the story, a memo from the NFL and the players union listed GNC as a prohibited company. The article said the memo warned players not to endorse or have business relationship with GNC because it has been associated with production, manufacture, or distribution of NFL banned substances. This was in August 2022, so it wasn't that old. The majority of immune supplements with 4-star ratings while found to have labels that don't match the contents, and most all had no peer-reviewed science to support the claims. So that's the problem. Is a lot of companies will just put their money in marketing, not do the research showing that the nutrients are at the level they need to be, or that they do what they claim to do. And then, 12 companies violating FDA rules by using illegal, potentially dangerous substances. That's the companies that were listed. It doesn't say what was in them. There's another one for you guys. More mass market protein brands just claiming they had more protein than they actually did.
So it's more problem to see the public.
Yeah.
And actually make the product that they're at.
Totally. That is exactly it. And then here it says, so sometimes the FDA will get involved, right? So it inspected 598 supplement manufacturing facilities in the fiscal year of 2019, and over 50% had violations of things that were not supposed to be done as far as good manufacturing practices. I've even heard of traces of horse hooves being found in whey protein because it was made in a place where there were horses, right? Like weird stuff that we don't think about as consumers will happen. You know? But the most common one is contaminants or underformulation. That's what you find like across the board with like even respected names. Like I used to do CrossFit a lot. I love road, you know. It's like a huge name. CrossFit Games, road, you know.
At GC, I would go there a lot, and at the beginning of the fitness, I really was addicted to butter. And when I started going there, I was pulling out the shots. And I said, what's going on there? Oh, there's something under me. And then 2 months later, I was back on the shot.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, and then I see that at Walmart. So I was like, okay, something's wrong. Okay, you pull it off, you can take that to the salad because it's something that's in it.
Yeah.
And then you put it back. So I knew that the
That's really fun. Okay. So the reason that I trust StopFit, again, I'm just here to educate. What you guys do is up to you. Well, if you're my client, you don't really have a choice. But besides, apart from my client, right? The reason that we use them though is because they're tested for all these things. So efficacy, so the dosages and forms match clinical trials, safety, no contaminants in it, purity, so making sure that the nutrients are actually at the levels that they claim. I've actually had the privilege of going down to California and meeting Neil Spruce, the CEO of StopFit. And I found out when I was there that he actually over-formulates the products. So he puts everything on the label, he puts it to 110% of what's on it. So it's actually 34% accurate in our food. He does that because this guy, I know it might be hard to believe, but he actually genuinely cares. And there have been instances where he's told me he's invested like to get certain nutrients from extract nutrients from a plant or a vegetable source, right? He's actually had to pay like extra expensive amounts of money to actually make sure the quality of the product is where it's supposed to be, where he actually kind of takes a loss, you know? And I didn't know that until I went down and met him, right? So he really cares about making the product what it's supposed to be. That's why it's only for professional use only. You can't get it at GNC or Costco or anywhere. You have to get it in a gym that he chooses to partner with or online. But he only partners with gyms, right? So nutrients are at the levels they claim. And two, the timing of it, right? The products, they tell you when to take them. Like this shake is going to help with recovery. This is good as a meal replacement. And it actually is for that. Rather than just be kind of a blanket statement, this is whey protein, just take it, right? They're very specific with how it's supposed to work. So, there's that one. And then it's partnered with the NFL, right? So NFL trusts StopFit players to take StopFit because they won't pop contraband substances, right?
I think Joe Burrow is not there.
What's that?
Joe Burrow is the Bengals.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay. That's cool. I didn't know. So coming back here, covered most of that. Does anybody have any questions about any of that stuff? No? Okay. So once we've established like how to kind of look and make sure our supplements that we're taking are all of those things on that slide, right? Safe, tested, because a lot of supplement companies don't have what's called third-party testing, right? So that's where a company that's not biased and doesn't benefit from the sale of the product tests the product to verify that it's at the level that they claim on the nutrition or the supplement facts label, right? So third-party testing. We also want to look for, as I'm sure you've heard from your trainers, an NSF certification. So that means that the National Sanitation Foundation has cleared it of any banned substances. So we won't pop off for something that's a contaminant, or in that case of an athlete, we won't pop off for something that will get you kicked out of like capital. Right? So once we find the supplements that match all those, then we can actually figure out which ones can help us get faster results when it comes to getting to our fitness goal, right? So first thing off, we always want to make sure that we do is cover nutrient gaps. First thing, right? There's no point in taking like pre-workout or something that will help you lose weight faster, like a thermogenic or anything like that, until you make sure that your nutrient gaps in your food are covered. Once we do that, and you, honestly, if you're my client, you show me that you're serious enough to take those regularly, right? Then we can kind of look into what can help you get to your goal faster. Your food is in a caloric deficit or surplus, depending if you want to lose weight or gain, and your nutrient gaps are being covered. Like I said, the best way is to do a blood channel. So after we do that, we have a few things we can do. So if your goal is to lose weight, right? Once our nutrient gaps are covered, we go into what we call performance supplements, right? So performance supplements are specifically designed to be taken short term and to be things that you can take to help you get results more quickly, right? So if you're in 0 to 50% of your goal when it comes to weight loss, okay? And like I said, I'm not telling you what to do. You can go eat fake supplements all day long if you want. But this is what I would have you do if you were my client, right? 0 to 50% of your goal. Once your nutrient gaps are covered, I would add in what's called liver support, right? So this is meant for people who have a little bit higher, maybe 25% or more, or 30% or more of body fat. We're trying to bring that down as quickly as possible, okay? What it does, think of your liver as like, if it's not operating properly, think of it as like a clogged drain, right? So the water's trying to get through, the water being the nutrients from the food. We're not going to be able to digest all the nutrients from the food that we're eating, right? So something like liver support helps your body, so liver detoxes your body, digest nutrients from the food that you eat, right? And a perfect example of this is protein, right? So when we eat protein, we lose about 30 to 40% of it through digestion. So if you have, 100, yes?
You said these are used for short term. So I've been on it for like years.
Right. So that would tell me that we're not always in a caloric deficit when it comes to getting to our goal.
You're not always in a what?
Like a caloric deficit.
Yeah.
So remember, you have to be in a caloric deficit. You can take as much stuff as you want. And this isn't meant, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking in general, okay? But if you take all these things to make you lose weight really fast, like if you take a thermogenic, which makes you burn a lot more calories, right? But you're eating more calories than your body burns, it's not going to make a difference. Food being in a deficit and covering nutrient gaps come first. It has to. So if you're still eating more than what your body burns, or eating less than what your body burns if you want to gain, it's not going to make a difference, right? These are to help if you're in a caloric deficit. That's the number one most important piece when it comes to weight loss. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, liver support is 0 to 50% of your goal, okay? It can help you to bring down subcutaneous body fat. That's going to be fat around your organs, okay? We also want to have what's called amino acids, right? Does anybody know anything about why those would be important? It's okay if you don't.
So you don't hurt.
Yes, to help you be less sore, yes. But specifically, when you do any kind of weightlifting, not cardio, take cardio out of the equation. You do any kind of weightlifting, right? You're breaking down the muscle tissue. That's all we're doing. By the way, just so you know, when we're lifting weights, if you don't go to where it really burns, where you're truly really uncomfortable, I don't mean like being, but you're not really doing a whole lot, right? We have to actually get to where it's uncomfortable to repair the muscle fibers. And then that will require them to have to come back together stronger, right? So what happens when we lift weights? We're breaking down the muscle tissue, right? So there's like a 30 to 45 minute period after your workout where your muscle that you work is starving for nutrients and your body is going into like emergency mode to repair the muscle tissue that was broken. When you take amino acids, it gets immediately absorbed right into the muscle because your muscle is comprised of amino acids, okay? When you drink protein, it gets digested and broken down into amino acids, right? So it takes time. So a lot of the time it won't get in there in that 30 to 40 minute window, right? We usually want to take amino acids right away. Think of it as like if you were to walk out of here and fall and break your leg, right? It's important that the medic get there as quickly as possible, right? And that time that it takes them is valuable. Think of it the same way. When that muscle is broken down, it needs nutrients as quickly as possible to help it start to recover. So that's why amino acids are important. Even if you want to lose weight, the more muscle you have on you, the more calories you're going to burn, the easier it'll be to be in a deficit. If you want to gain weight, it's going to help you put on more muscle. If you go to surplus, get bigger, right? So you may have questions about that. No? Good. Make sense? Okay. And then for my clients, right, what I want you to also have is like a pre-post protein supplement. So this is meant to be taken before or after. When it's not like the meal replacement or slowly absorbed protein, right? It is specifically made with a 2-to-1 carbohydrate to protein ratio of quickly absorbed carbohydrates and a couple different kinds of whey protein. The idea is that you take it about 20 minutes after you take your amino acids to get rapidly absorbed into the muscle. You don't want to take it at the same exact time. You want to have some space in there. But it's specifically for after your workout to help you retain as much muscle as possible and stay in what's called that catabolic state, where your body is building, right? Catabolic means we're breaking down, we're tearing down. Anabolic means we're growing and building, right? So the whole idea of taking amino acids or quickly absorb protein after your workout is to help it build and stay in an anabolic state. Does that kind of make sense?
So what are you talking about with protein right now?
What's that?
You said your team does you want them to do a protein right after?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a pre-post. It's called pre-post protein. We have it here. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I usually find my aminos like I drink it during and after.
That's fine. Yep, that's totally fine. Yep. The whole idea is just to have it in there so that the muscle doesn't start. So there's 3. Let me know if I'm losing any of you guys with this, okay? Because that's a good point. So your body has 3 energy systems. If you work with Chris, he probably explained this before, right? So your body runs off protein, carbs, or fats, okay? Believe it or not, your body actually runs off of fat for energy in your blood a lot more than you would think, right? Because I always kind of thought that carbohydrates were your body's primary energy source, right? So when you're doing low to like really low activity, walking around, laying down, your body's primarily using triglycerides for energy, which are fats, okay? When you start doing more activity, right, working out, we're starting to move, we're doing cardio, it'll use a little bit more of carbohydrates as the energy source, but it's always using a little bit of all 3, but it's primarily using carbs. But after long, prolonged activity, it will start to use the amino acids, protein, to be used as energy, right? So what will happen is that if you go too long or your exercise is really intense, your body will start to burn muscle tissue for energy. And that is why it makes sense to take it right after or during, and either is fine. All we're trying to do is stop that from happening as much as we can. You know what I'm saying?
Finish it, and then within 30 minutes, take my muscle defender.
Yeah, that's great too. Yep.
I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When did you decide to work on the heaven formula? What would be the difference between the two?
Yeah. Not a whole lot. Just people who don't like pills go for them. They both were really good. Yep. Yeah, I just the recovery pill is not popular because people don't want to take 8 pills.
Yeah.
So, but it's designed for the same thing. Yes. Yeah, that's totally fine. Yep, that's fine. It's about 20 minutes after your last sip. And the whole idea is because the protein in the pre-post has to be broken down. So if you drink your aminos, which are protein that's already simplified, at the same time, it'll slow down the absorption of the aminos, right? That's why we want to have that like 20-minute interval. Yep. And then we have creatine, or creatine monohydrate, right? So what creatine does primarily for workout intensity, I'm not going to get all scientific on you guys, but basically your body converts fats, carbohydrates, and protein into a molecule called adenosine triphosphate. Just think of that as like the power source for your muscles in your body, right? So what creatine does when it comes to performance for like weightlifting is it helps your body uptake more adenosine triphosphate more quickly, right? So it basically helps your body replenish its energy source for your workouts, weightlifting specifically, a little bit more effectively, right? Which in turn, yes.
I usually mix that with my aminos. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, totally fine.
Yay.
Yep. So creatine really helps with strength, right? But the reason that it's good for weight loss still is because if we're pushing harder during our workouts, we're doing more sets and reps, we're going to put more muscle tissue on our body, sculpt our body more, and burn more calories the more muscle that we have, right? Whew, that was a lot. Okay, so if you are 50 to 75% of your goal, right? We would want to, and again, this is kind of something that your trainer might have a little bit of a different individual plan for you, Arlene specifically, and I don't want to speak to that, but for 50 to 75% of your goal, if you wanted to lose 40 pounds and you've lost 20 and you want to lose the next 20, right? I would say this is for you, 50 to 75%. Everything pretty much stays the same, except we wouldn't take liver support and we move to carb cut. What this does is this helps your body block excess carbohydrates from being stored as glycogen. So you want to make sure that you have it when you have a lot of carbohydrates, typically breakfast or lunch. Right? If you have it at dinner, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But primarily, breakfasts are very carb-heavy meals. You want to get some energy for the day. Right? So things like oatmeal or cereal or whatever it is that you're having, right? But everything else remains the same, right? Amino acids for recovery, our pre-post protein. And again, with the pre-post too, it can also fuel your workouts, right? Little side thing, if you ate like an hour and a half before your workout and you had like a really good meal, that's fine. But if you worked all day and then you're going to the gym after work and you haven't ate in like 5 hours or something like that, that's when you want to have a serving of your pre-post, like through the pre-part, before, about 45 minutes before, because it's digested quickly. So now it's on the other side. It's helping fuel your workout to stop your body from burning a lot of unwanted potential muscle for energy. And then aminos, and then again right after, right? So you can use it to prep you for your workout too, if you haven't ate for a while, which ideally you want to kind of try to avoid. Working on an empty stomach sucks. Like working out on an empty stomach. I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but You don't feel like your brain. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
I usually have my protein shake with NMR in the morning for breakfast.
That's fine, yeah.
And it says 17 grams of carbs. Should I be taking my carb refill before I drink that, or do I
wouldn't.
need that?
It's not a lot.
Okay.
It's not a lot.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I don't eat a lot of carbs, but if when I do, yes, I usually save that for whatever. But I wasn't sure with that's 17 grams. Like, okay, I'm doing good. Yay.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't take it at that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. It's in your lead pack, and the thing that I want to kind of dispel, and again, I didn't really think of this before I started this seminar just now, but if your trainer tells you something different, let us know. We can kind of get on the same page about it. Well, I spoke with the person who makes this stuff, right? And as far as covering nutrient gaps, after you do that, the liver support is for someone who has a higher percent of body fat to bring down. The carb repel is for someone who's at 50 to 75% of their goal, and the thermogenic is for that last bit. That's how he told me to tell people, right? So if your trainers do something different, that's okay. They're not wrong, right? But this is, as far as I know, this is the most effective way to utilize these. Okay?
Sorry.
I don't want to step on anything.
Can you explain the difference between the carb repel and thermostat?
I'm going to.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, I have one.
No, the questions are great.
Can the free post be as a replacement?
It absolutely can. That's what I do. That's what I have my clients do. That's why I like that one too, because you can use it for preparing for your workout, recovering afterward, or as a standalone meal replacement. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you're at 50 to 75% of your goal, carb repel can serve you with aminos, glucose, and creatine. Okay. Now, if you're on that last end, right, like a good way to kind of structure this would just be to go by the months of GYFT. First month, liver support. Second month, carb repel. Third month, thermostat. Right? If your food and workouts and program are on point, remember those come first. These aren't just magic pills that are going to make you lose weight. You have to have those other parts coming first. Okay? So the way a thermogenic works is it brings your body's internal core temperature up, right? So it has a collection of plant extracts and a lot of caffeine to make you burn more calories throughout the day and more efficiently digest and process food, right? So when you take it, if you're hypersensitive to caffeine, I would kind of caution you, right? Like, be careful, take just one in the morning. What are you laughing? You're just like, I'm not hypersensitive.
I know about it.
Okay, so you've taken it.
Oh, yes. Don't take
Right.
it at night when you have to go to bed.
Don't take it at night. Yes. So when you take it with breakfast. Start off, I tell most of my clients have one with breakfast and one with lunch. Okay? Then once you kind of get used to it, because you'll feel it, you'll notice you're a little jittery, a little more awake, right? I would advise cutting out other sources of caffeine while you're in the beginning stages of using it. And then go to the recommended dosage, which is 2 in the morning and 2 at night. Now understand though, this is a very, for lack of a better way of putting it, advanced supplement, right? You don't just want to jump into the gym and start working out and taking it. This is for someone who's been resistance training for a while. You know, if you're at the end of the gift and you want to push for that last month, this is something you want to use that for. You know what I mean? And again, all your boxes are checked. Your food is on point. Your cardio is 3-4 times a week. You're going to 2 or 3 boot camp classes. You know what I mean? This is like the very end. Right? Thermocell.
I have a question. So on the bottle, I know I've been doing it for 40 years, I know, but on the bottle it says 30 minutes.
Doesn't have to be. I asked about
Because
this.
you cannot do 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It will make you sick.
The only one that you have to take 30 minutes before is the carb repel. Because
Okay.
it has to get in there before so that
Okay.
it can block the carbohydrates that you eat.
Okay.
But the liver support and thermocell, that's a good point. So on the labels of the liver support and the thermocell, it says it has to be 30 minutes before, and I specifically asked about this with the person who makes the stuff, because it does not have to be that. Ideally, we would want that, but it doesn't have to be. The Carver Bell does. You want to always take that 30 minutes before you eat, so it affects the start to take. Okay. And then really quick muscle gain. Let's not forget about y'all. Pretty close to the similar stuff, right? So covering all your nutrient gaps. 0 to 100% of goal. It's the same, right? So the first string protein formula, right? What this is for, it's very similar to pre-post. It's quickly absorb carbohydrate and protein to fuel your workout and help you recover, but it has a lot more protein, a lot more carbs, and a lot more calories, right? Because we want those, because we want to be in a caloric surplus to grow, right? First string. Yep. So it's like a big amino acids, right? Same thing, we want to be recovering from our workouts. And then creatine and glutamine, or otherwise known as muscle defender, right? Now, while we are wanting to put on muscle, this is the one time I would say it's necessary, because you're not going to be taking other stimulants like Thermacell, you're not trying to lose, to take a pre-workout supplement, right? So what pre-workout supplements do, the stuff in it that makes your skin all tingly is called beta-alanine. It's an amino acid, right? The beta-alanine, you have Dogfit's actual pre-workout has creatine in it, so they've actually put it together, and it has caffeine in it to help with workout intensity and concentration, right? This is necessary when you are trying to get bigger, because we have to make sure that our workouts have the intensity that we want them to have. Again, you don't want to take this at like 5 at night. I mean, you can, but it's not a very good idea, right? So that's for muscle gain. Does anybody have any questions about any of this stuff? I know you have one. What's that?
I never ate breakfast before I worked out. Harrison, he tried to do it breakfast. He did. I've been doing it for about a week, and I feel a lot better. So I just, that I did not take it. I was awesome.
Yes. Okay. The animal separation, pre-workout. So yeah, so just a little side thing. If you are a person who is sensitive to caffeine, again, you want to be careful with thermogenic or pre-workout, right? I'm not saying not to do it, but look on the label. Okay, 1 serving of the scoop. I'll start off with half. See how I, 70 milligrams of caffeine or so. Just be smart. Nothing bad is going to happen, right? But especially if you take certain medications, right? Maybe check with your doc. Hey, I've worked on my fitness goals. I want to up the intensity of my workouts. What do you think about this? Be careful though, because a lot of times they'll just tell you something and they don't really know much about the product you're asking about. I'm not saying doctors don't know. That's not good. So, kind of in conclusion, right? Our bodies need nutrients to perform normal functions each day. Okay? You laugh. What?
We're talking about food.
Okay.
Hey,
All right.
I wasn't part of this conversation.
You have to ask.
That's fine. Okay, moving on. So,
It was me, so we just ate it.
yeah. So, getting all these nutrients from food alone is not feasible within the context of our society today, especially with the way food is mass produced. Even in a perfect world, one would have to structure their food plan perfectly every day. This creates first the need for supplementation to address nutrient gaps in your diet, which can be assessed through getting blood work done. We want to do this because long-term nutrient gaps can cause legitimate and very serious health concerns if not treated through proper diet and supplementation, right? Once we address this, we can focus on using additional supplements to increase recovery from workouts and maximize our results, which in turn allows us to achieve our fitness goals.
So you're saying our more blood work are doing consistent blood work about every year or something?
Just like once a year, you know, once or 2 times a year, just to see if there's anything. Now, again, I mean,
Yeah.
I like.
You're not a doctor.
I'm not a doctor, but I know that people have nutrient deficiencies and they don't know about it, right? Now, if you're taking multivitamin, calcium, antioxidant, vitamin D, you know, the stuff we recommend for your essentials, even maybe like a probiotic for gut health and stuff like that, chances are you're pretty well covered, except maybe an extreme case or something, maybe, you know, something out of the ordinary, right? But it doesn't hurt to just know anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The thing about seeing a doctor is I take a thyroid medication. I have to wait 4 hours before I can take anything. No caffeine, no dairy, or anything because it lessens the effect of medication. So that's why you're not going to do it.
I just have a comment about, I had really bad gut health and my doctor told me to quit the liver support, the carb, and what was the other, the blue thing? The liver support, the carb, and the therm.
Yeah.
He says, well, quit that. But then I started with the enzymes, the digestive enzymes, and that has really helped.
Yeah.
And I'm back on the other stuff. That was over a year ago. But I don't have the issues that I had before I started the adopt with enzymes. So
Oh, yeah.
And there's probiotics.
and the what?
Yeah.
With that, I'm a cancer survivor, and like I've been taking probiotics for the last year, and like no improvement. It wasn't until I started taking the liver support that it's fascinating to me how it's not just calcium; it's other things that go together, that
Yeah.
work together. It's not
Yes.
just the enzymes; it's the liver support to clean the system out and keep it healthy and going. Never had that until 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And they do
Yeah.
work. 'Cause I was taking another enzyme, digestive enzyme that has to be refrigerated.
Yeah.
And I think it was called Rooter. You can look that up before Boston.
Okay.
But I was taking that, but I'm still having issues. I'm like, what the heck? And then I started using the DotFit one, and then knock on wood, no problem. It's not real. But yeah, so I can attest that, and you can attest to the brand. So yay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's.
So all the vitamins that you named off there, is it in all of the document or just in the multiple?
Yeah, all
Like
of
the
those.
vitamin
I
K
only
and all
will
that?
take Doctor supplements. I'll only have my. I will always only recommend them because I
Do
don't.
they have that vitamin K in there too? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have it.
Yeah, that should be in your multivitamin.
Okay.
But we should still eat the foods that have
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah.
from food is the best place to get.
Yep. Yeah, all of the stuff I went over today is doctor stuff. Do you guys have any more questions? No? Sorry if you take other stuff and then lost it again.
No, I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
you don't know, now you know. But it's funny though, because when I first sat down with my trainer for the initial thing, you know, listed off all the things I take, and pretty much like, and I said, hey, you know, if I need to throw it all out because it's crap, then I'll do it. And that's exactly what I needed to do.
Well, yeah, and if you're doing the Thermacell, the Carboncell, and the liver support, do the lean pack, because it actually saves like $10. Wow.
Yeah.
It's all 3 in 1.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Well, I was gonna get this, not like, oh, I have all this liver support, but I'm missing these 2. And when we went up there, she's like, well, they'll say it's $10 less if you get all 3.
Yeah.
It's in the box.
Yeah.
Not where it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Oh, man, you know. You're informed.
Just helping you out, because you know, I'm a veteran, so I've been here, done that.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else have any questions?
How long do you think you should take these things before we get a blood test to see if it's happening?
That's a good point. So it's hard because I don't want to tell you to not take your supplements, right? But I would, if you really want to know, like the difference of what your supplements are doing, I would take them for like 2 weeks, get a blood test done, and take them for about 2 weeks again, every day consistently, and then go do it again. If you really want to know.
Well, I just wondered because my work, we actually see my card one more
Oh,
so we actually have that for that second one. So
yeah.
I just have to know if your mom is like a you take it right now, and it's like an hour.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's
There
great.
is some companies that do the blood panel at home. I can look into it. If you guys don't feel comfortable like going out, they'll come to you.
Yeah.
Like, do the blood. A lot of bodybuilders do that. And they're confident. If you want to do it at home, you can do that too.
Before you guys leave, make sure you sign this name. Just so that you were here. Your choice. But you guys have any other questions? No? You guys are like, these seats are uncomfortable.